This chart shows the nutritional profiles of two different meals side by side. They contain the exact same number of calories, sugar, fat, and fiber. But if you eat the meal on the left for 2 weeks, you will lose weight. If you eat the meal on the right for 2 weeks, you will gain weight. Understanding why that happens is one of the most pressing questions in medicine today. Almost 40% of adults in the United States have obesity, which directly drives secondary crises like non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a condition where excess fat aggressively accumulates inside the liver. To figure out what was actually going on, Dr. Kevin Hall and his team at the National Institutes of Health designed a strictly controlled experiment. They recruited 20 volunteers to live inside the NIH Clinical Center for a full month. For the first 2 weeks, participants were fed a diet entirely made of unprocessed foods. For the next 2 weeks, they ate an ultra-processed diet. Every meal was matched for calories and macronutrients, and the participants were explicitly told that they could eat as much or as little as they wanted. On the ultra-processed diet, the subjects instinctively consumed 500 more calories per day. Over the course of 14 days, that surplus compounded into an average weight gain of 2 pounds. When those same people ate the unprocessed diet, they lost 2 pounds. The math of traditional calorie counting fails to explain this gap. The numbers on the plate were identical, but the method of industrial food manufacturing actively altered human consumption behavior. Researchers decode this discrepancy using the NOVA classification system. NOVA organizes food into 4 groups based on how it is made. Groups 1 through 3 cover traditional techniques like removing inedible parts, drying grains, or adding basic ingredients like salt and oil. This kind of processing preserves our food supply safely. Group 4 is entirely different. Ultra-processed foods are engineered industrial formulations designed to maximize shelf life and corporate profitability. You won't find the ingredients for these items in a standard home kitchen. Manufacturers construct them from fractioned substances, components extracted from high-yield crops like corn or soy, creating isolates like hydrolyzed proteins and high-fructose corn syrup. Because that industrial base is unpalatable on its own, the process requires cosmetic additives. Chemicals like emulsifiers, artificial colors, and flavor enhancers are injected to mask the raw ingredients and engineer a hyper-palatable taste. These items are carefully calibrated chemical constructs. They are engineered to override the human body's natural limits. The first way they bypass our defenses is physical. Ultra-processed foods are softer and easier to chew than whole foods. Because they require less effort to break down, the rate at which you ingest calories per minute sharply accelerates. By eating so quickly, you outrun your brain's semaphorin signaling pathways. Semaphorins are molecules that help govern brain circuit development and energy balance, telling your body when you've had enough. The food travels down your throat before your brain can ever register that you are full. The second hijack happens deeper inside the gut microbiome. Researchers sequenced the gut bacteria of 2 distinct groups: women from rural Ghana eating high-starch, high-fiber diets, and urban U.S. women eating standard diets high in protein and low in fiber. High-fiber diets cultivate highly interactive bacterial networks. These microbes break down fiber to produce short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs, which regulate metabolism. Ultra-processed diets starve these microbial networks. Without fiber, the gut destabilizes, and the production of protective fatty acids shuts down completely. Ultra-processed foods dismantle the internal biological systems designed to keep us lean, pushing the body into systemic dysfunction. If you're finding this breakdown helpful, take a second to hit subscribe so we can keep diving into the science of how our bodies really work. Treating every item in NOVA Group 4 identically ignores the data. The physiological effects vary depending on the specific product. Researchers at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health tracked the health data of over 200,000 adults over a 30-year period to isolate specific dangers within the ultra-processed category. They identified clear primary offenders. Sugar-sweetened beverages and processed meats were strongly and consistently linked to a higher risk of developing cardiovascular disease. However, other highly processed categories, specifically cold cereals, yogurts, and savory snacks, actually demonstrated a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease. Despite their manufacturing methods, they delivered beneficial payloads like fiber and essential vitamins.
The ultra-processed label represents a broad spectrum of risk. Evaluating a food's impact requires looking past the broad category and examining its specific nutritional architecture. When you step into the grocery store, the front-of-box calorie count is designed to distract you. As the NIH clinical trial proved, the total number of calories does not dictate how your body will process that food. The only way to understand what you are buying is to flip the package over and apply the kitchen versus chemistry lab test to the ingredient list. Actively scan the text for items you would never keep in a pantry.
Cosmetic additives, isolated industrial proteins like whey or soy protein isolate, and chemical emulsifiers are immediate red flags that you are holding a Group 4 formulation. Processing is a necessary marvel that keeps the global population fed, but identifying and minimizing the formulations engineered strictly for corporate profit is the only way to escape the modern dietary trap.